For the next tutorial, we're going to look at adding a clamp to our design that'll actually attach to the table or wherever it is that you want to clamp the tablet holder to. And what's important here is that we create it about the right work plane, so that it'll make the sweep that we do later on a lot more straightforward. Okay, so right hand work plane, we'll view it from the right as well, and we want to zoom out, moving it up so that we know roughly the region that's going to give us a nice path for the gooseneck later on. So we want to create it somewhere down here. Exactly at the moment doesn't matter, we're just going to start the sketch and draw the rectangle in roughly the right place. So just down here. And then we can dimension it. So our distance, we want it from the centre line. We're just going to make it 250mm, and away from the base there we'll make it 250 as well. Okay. The actual rectangle itself, we're going to have 70 wide, 90 tall, and that should do for now. We're then going to zoom in just to this part, so that's locked into position now quite nicely. This is the part we're going to create the clamp shape. So we're going to use our line tool and just draw 3 extra lines in this region. Okay. You'll notice we're chopping a chunk out of this bottom part here as well. Then using our dimension tool we can fix all of those into position. So the top can be quite thin. The back is going to have to be nice and strong, so we'll make that about 15mm, should be fine. And then the base as well, fairly strong, we'll make that 10. I've accidentally put in 0, sorry. Control and Z on my keyboard to change it. Make it 10, press enter, and that looks roughly where we want to go. So that looks like it's going to work nicely. We can then finish our sketch. And you notice I haven't deleted the lines because I want to show you how to select the part that you want to extrude. So when we extrude, if we selected sketch 13 it would do the whole rectangle, but by selecting it on the face here we can now just extrude that part that we want. But remember, we need it to be symmetrical about that right work plane, so we've got to change some settings over here. It's a new part, which is it's going to automate because it's not touching anything else. We need to change blind to symmetric, and we're going to change that to 20mm. Okay, that actually looks a little bit thin, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to 24mm. So we've got 12mm going on either side. That should work. Okay, so we can click the green tick, and we've got the start of our clamp. It looks somewhat boring at the moment. We'll start to add the design to it and make it a bit more intricate as we move along now. So first let's put the hole in here, and we'll create the actual screw thread for clamping. I'm going to sketch on that workspace or work plane, sorry, create the circle, and then go ahead and dimension that. So we'll make that an 8mm. We'll go for a 10. We want a nice chunky thread, and the distance from this edge is going to be 20, and the distance from this edge is going to be the centre, so it's 12, and that's automated anyway because we made sure we were clicking on the centre as the orange locks came up as we were drawing, so we can just get rid of that. That 20's pushed it quite far back, okay, because although that was 40, the centre didn't account for this 15, so we're actually going to make that 12.5, which should look much more central. So that's come from, if we double 12.5 it gives us this space here, which is 25. 15 is that thickness, that's giving you your 40 of the total, so that's where that's 12.5 has come from. We'll tick that, extrude it, and we want to remove it, so we're going to click on the circle, flip the arrow so it's going the other way, and we'll make sure it's saying remove at the top here. Click tick, and we've got our hole for that part to attach to. Okay, so the next parts now, we're going to create the screw thread going through here. So again, we're going to create now a work plane, something you're familiar with from other work that we've done as well. Clicking on this work face, we're then going to click the plane tool, and it's thrown one up there. We just want to move that down a little bit, maybe to 20mm, and that's where our screw thread will start. So we just want it slightly above so we can see it, and we'll click tick. We're going to sketch on our new work plane a circle, and the circle needs to match up with this circle here. So if we just draw it to start with, and then we'll make it match with dimensions. So 10mm on there. It was already aligned in the centre, so just a distance from this edge, which we know was 12.5 from the last one that we drew. We'll click tick, and we're going to extrude that circle now, going the opposite way, and we'll make it 70 millimeters. Okay, so we can see that's going right down there at 70 mil. And we can click tick. The next part then, we're going to create a hole through this. In fact, I've just made another mistake. On that extrude, we need to make it a new part, otherwise it won't be able to move. So we're going to go new and click tick. Okay. We then need to put a hole going through this, so we can put a bar going through there so that you can actually tighten this and twist it round and round. So what we're going to do is select the right hand work plane for a new sketch. So sketch, scroll up on here, and we're selecting right. We can not tick yet, so I haven't drawn it. We're going to use a circle. I'm going to draw that circle in there. Let's look at it from the right hand side and position it in the middle so we can work more accurately on here. Go ahead with your dimension tool, and we just want to make this about a 4mm bar. If we make it 8mm from the bottom, and we can then dimension the distance from this edge, because we know that this distance to match the centre of the hole was 12.5, and that's in the middle there now. Tick that. We're going to extrude it, so select sketch from the menu here. We'll look at it more in 3D so we can see what's going on. We're going to change it to symmetric, and we want to change it to remove. Click tick, and you've got the hole there for our next bar to go through. So again, new sketch, right hand work plane, and we're going to draw that exact same circle again. So look at it from the right hand side, zoom in, repeat the process. Sometimes it does seem a little bit repetitive, but it's very important to improve your accuracy. Okay, so making that 4mm. The distance from the bottom we set at 8mm, and then the distance from this edge was 12.5, keeping that all really accurate. And we click tick. We're going to extrude. This time it's a new part. We're going symmetric, and we're just going to make that 60mm. And we should really select the face as well, it's probably going to help us out. So there we go, you've got the bar there, and it's changed it automatically to add. We don't want to, we want to make it a new part so that it can move, and we click tick, and we're just going to put some ends on this to stop it falling out. So click on that circle, sketch, let's click on it again, draw your circle right on the end there, slightly bigger. All you then need to do is dimension the diameter, so just make that 10, tick, extrude. We're going to go over the top of the bar and adding to it, so we'll flip that. Merge scope is with part 6. The face that we want to extrude is sketch 18, and we only want to do it 5mm or so, and it'll just stop that from going inside. Okay, then we're going to do the same on this side of the bar, but we could mirror that to save us a little bit of work, and we'll do that just as a little bit of practice. So if we go mirror, entities to mirror was extrude 16, and the actual not part mirror, we're going to change it to feature mirror. Then the features to mirror, sorry, are extrude 16, and the mirror plane is that right hand work plane that we've used before, and we click tick. So we've got our bar there just for tightening the clamp around. On top of here now, we just need to extend the size of this part, so that this part of the circle we want to extend so it'll give us a bigger clamping area to attach to the table. So if we create a sketch, a circle, on top there, lock it to the middle, and then draw your circle. We'll dimension that maybe 30mm, and then we're going to tick. We'll extrude. We want the whole of sketch 19. We'll go down to merge it in, and we'll just make that maybe 3mm, and adding it, making sure part 5 is the correct one, click tick, and we're happy with that. So we've now got most of our clamp done. The only problem is we need the attachment for the gooseneck, and we don't want this as a pivoting one, so essentially we just want part of this raised so that we've got a hole for the gooseneck to attach into. So we're going to click on this surface, sketch, and I'm just going to draw a couple of circles. We'll dimension them up in a second. So a couple larger than one another. Then on here we want the hole maybe to be 6mm, maybe a little bit larger. We'll stick for 6 now, and if we want to make it larger later on we can, that's no problem. It's just moved, it's jumped across, and then this one can be 12 in there. Then we're going to move the centre of this, we're going to dimension it from this edge here, and we just want that to be maybe 70 millimeters, and that's the actual width of it. So if we reduce that now, 55, we'll see where that positions. That's a bit far forward, so I'm going to make it 60, and that looks better. So I click my tick, I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to click on the donut part, so we're just extruding that, and I only want that up 10 millimeters. In fact 15 should look quite good, unless it looks huge, in which case you can change it, but that's absolutely fine for me. 16 millimeters in there. I'm going to add some more features to this now to start making it look a little bit more desirable. So I'm going to start with some fillets just on these bottom edges here, and we're just going to make them 10. Okay, and we can click tick. We're then going to do some more fillets up here that are a slightly different size, so we're going to make those 12.5, and we're going to click tick. And then on the back as well, we'll actually fillet these 12.5 as well. So in fact we'll do that within fillet 6, edit, we can add more onto here knowing they're going to be the same size, and finish up with a tick. We've got our clamp that looks a little bit more desirable now, having them fillets done, and this part looks a little bit odd, so we're just going to chamfer that edge. We're going to use a chamfer tool on this top edge, and we're going to use 2 distances. So our distance 1 is just going to be 2 millimeters. So that's the bit at the top, and then the next bit is going to be 15, so it's going to take all the way down to the bottom, and you can see it just tapers that now, and it looks a little bit more interesting. And that's going to be where our gooseneck attaches to the clamp. It's going to come out the back here and attach to the clamp down at the bottom.